Namaste. This is the Sattva channel, www.sattv.life, sattva.life. We conduct programs on every other Sunday, we try to, in which we take up questions that might be of interest to our participants as well as people who join our webinars. So welcome to this channel. We will start shortly. Namaste everyone. Welcome to the Sattva webinar. Today we are going to discuss veganism. So what is veganism? Whether it is good for me or not, why should I do it? What are the benefits? Let's talk about these things briefly for the next few minutes. And then when you have heard my views on it or thoughts on it, then you are welcome to raise your hands and we can take questions after that. So what is veganism? Veganism is an attitude, a lifestyle. People who do not want to consume anything that comes from animals are called vegans. Okay. So people who do not eat any animal products, people who do not use any products that have been generated by animals or from animals, those people are called vegans. Vegan is one step ahead or one step further removed from vegetarianism. In Bharat, we normally understand being vegetarian as someone who eats all kinds of plant products, vegetable products, and also consumes dairy products, especially milk we receive from the cow. Traditionally, in Bharat, we have revered the cow because the cow is in a way very similar to the human beings. The gestation period for a calf is the same as or very similar to that of a human being. So the cow is pregnant for about 9 months and the calf is delivered. After the calf is delivered, that calf drinks the milk of the cow for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then after that, the calf is weaned. But the cow keeps giving the milk. And that milk is considered to be very beneficial for human health. That is how we have traditionally been. But the rules for that are, number one, the cow has to be treated very well. The cow has to be treated like a mother. And in fact, the cow herds and the farmers used to treat cows as their mother. Okay. Not like today, where the cow is treated like a small part in a big industrial complex, right? Not like that. So you treat the cow almost like a human being and you take care of the cow. Then having milk is okay. But in today's age, when cow is not treated like the mother, but the cow is treated just like a small part of a big industrial complex, then the cow is a sentient animal, right? If we exploit that animal, if we exploit that poor animal, poor life form, will that life form produce something that is beneficial for us? If we are squeezing something out of somebody, then that being is not willing to be squeezed, and whatever that being is giving up is being given up against its wishes. That is the reason in today's age it is better not to consume milk or milk products. The other reason why milk products need not be consumed is, see, milk is necessary for every mammal of its own mother until a certain age. Beyond that, milk is not really necessary. We may consume milk, and people do consume milk, and milk can be beneficial for some people, not for everybody. But those people who understand these principles will try not to consume dairy products or minimize their use to the extent possible. Okay. These people are called vegans. Now, what are the benefits of being vegan? See, we have discussed diet purification and how diet purification helps with body detoxification. We run a 30-day program for people who are interested in participating in it and experiencing that for the first hand. Experiencing it firsthand. So if somebody goes through a discipline for 3 or 4 weeks, then that discipline becomes a part of our life. We become used to it and then we start enjoying it also. Because in the 4 weeks that we do this discipline, we experience the difference within us and we realize that what we are doing is working well. So, whatever is working well, why will we give it up? That is the reason we take people with us on a journey. We don't force anybody to become a vegan or give up this thing or give up that thing or whatever. No. Whatever you are doing right now, you should gradually change the path and come on the right track. Once you gradually change your path and come on the right track, then you will yourself understand the difference. You will experience the difference. And once you experience the difference, then there is no reason for you to believe anybody else, right? Because you know by first hand experience. That is how knowledge has to be internalized. Okay. Whatever you hear from me or from anybody or on any webinar, that is simply information. Okay. That information will not become your experience or will not become true knowledge unless you have experienced it yourself. Merely gathering information, anybody can do. I don't have to tell you anything. You can simply Google and you can get the information. But is that information any good for you? Unless you implement those principles in your life and you experience the benefits, only then you will realize that yes, these principles make sense, right? So, for example, we buy a car, right? If we don't know how to buy a car, then it's just a big paperweight in your garage, isn't it? It will be a piece of metal, nothing else, and maybe some rubber and some plastic, whatever the car is made up of. You need to know how to run it also, isn't it? So merely having information is no good. You should be able to run with it. You should be able to drive with it. Only then that information will transform you, will take you from place A to place B, right? That's how it is. So what are the benefits of this vegan diet? See, number one, I'm not saying vegan or vegetarian or non-vegetarian or anything. What are the benefits of purifying our diet? Let's talk about that. You see, this body is made up of the food we eat. Okay. So it's like building a building. So if you want to build a strong building, you will use good quality, strong material to build it. Is it not? If you use inferior quality material to build a building, then the building will not be as strong as it needs to be. So what we need to do to build this building, which is our body, the physical body is like a building. It's a physical building, isn't it? We create this body from molecule by molecule from the molecules we pick up from the environment. So some molecules we pick up from the earth, solid material. Some molecules we pick up from water, liquid material. Some molecules we pick up from air, the Vayu Tattva. And these three are transformed within us by the fire principle, the Agni Tattva. Okay. If we build, and all of these four principles, the four Mahabhutas or Tattva, they are contained within the fifth one, which is the Akash. So Akash, the space, contains all of these four things. And within that Akash, all these transformations are happening. Agni is the one that is making these transformations happen. Okay. If we understand these basic principles, then we will be able to build this body, build this building consciously and well. That is the principle behind diet purification. Okay, so what we do is we try to figure out what we have been doing in the past. That's how we work with our participants. We sit down with them, and for an hour we interview them, and they also interview us. Of course, they also want to know what we do, so we tell them what we do. So for an hour we sit down and we try to figure out what they are doing, what they have been doing all their life. Then we know where they are. See, for going from place A to place B, you need a GPS. And in the GPS, what do you have to do? You have to first enter where you are. What is your current location? Only then the GPS will start working. Otherwise, it will not. So we try to figure out where you are initially. Okay. Then we know where we want to go. So then the GPS will give you the direction. But on that path, you have to walk on your own. We can only give you the GPS, but the walking has to be done by you. If you don't do the walking, then the GPS will be no good. We have given you the directions, but if you don't start moving, then you'll go nowhere, right? So therefore, we figure out where we are in the beginning. Okay. Then we understand, okay, from here, what is the best route to go to the final destination. So that's what we do. So what are the benefits along the way? The benefits along the way, by diet purification, the body gets detoxified. So what we do, the first step is a 30-day detox program. In that detox program, the body will get detoxified for sure. This has been the experience of every participant who has actually started walking on this path suggested by the Sattva team. All right. So the benefits are the body gets detoxified. Okay. The Agni within the body gets rekindled, rejuvenated, it becomes stronger. Then that Agni becomes capable of transforming food into the different things that our body is made of. So according to Ayurveda, food is converted into rasa, rakta, mamsa, meda, asthi, majja, shukra. These are seven dhatus or seven fundamental elements of the body on which the body is made. That's how the body gets made. Okay, so food gets converted into the plasma or rasa. Okay, maybe that nomenclature may not be correct, rasa. So it gets converted into some material from which blood will be made. Okay, so that gets converted into the blood. That's the first thing that gets made. So after the blood, then the muscles will get made. Then the fat cells will get made. Then the bones will get made. Then the bone marrow will get made. And then the reproductive tissue will get made. Beyond that, the subtle principle or the subtlest principle is the life principle. It's called ojas. When food gets completely transformed into all these things, then the ojas will give a wonderful glow to the body. So the body will start radiating. Okay. A healthy body can be gauged by how healthy the skin is. Okay, because the skin is the outermost part. The body is getting built from within, isn't it? So if the skin is clear, then we can safely assume that the internal body function is happening well. Okay. So the manifestation of good health or good Agni within the body, which is making all these transformations happen, the benefit will be the skin will get clear. Everybody who has been a participant in our program, they have realized that their skin becomes very glowing and very nice. Okay. And they are complimented by their colleagues or their family, you look much better, your face is more glowing and all that. Our sisters here, they don't need to do any makeup and all that, which is wonderful. So these benefits happen once we start purifying our diet. Our internal functioning is good. So we get hungry a couple of times a day, no more than a couple of times a day. Then our elimination is good. Our waste production is minimized because the input itself is minimized. And whatever input we give to the body, that gets converted nicely into body tissues and energy. Okay. So therefore the elimination is good. There is a regularity in life. So we sleep very well. Once we sleep very well, actually the quantity of sleep goes down, but the quality of sleep improves. So you may sleep only for 4, 5, 6 hours, but the sleep is deep. And when you get up, then you feel much more rejuvenated than you were before going to sleep. We also go through a program where we will teach you, or we will share our experience with you, how to go to sleep. In fact, we do a 1 hour yoga program every morning, 6 to 7, at the end of which 10 minutes are devoted to yoga nidra, or how to sleep. In that yoga nidra, half the participants fall asleep. Even I fall asleep every now and then, but I'll wake up suddenly after a couple of minutes. In those couple of minutes, I have very sound sleep. The body is so relaxed, the mind is so relaxed that we fall asleep and we feel rejuvenated after that. So after that 1 hour, 6 to 7, see, this 6 to 7 hour we have chosen because after that we can start doing whatever we want to do in life. But the rest of the day becomes so much easier on us, because in the beginning itself, 6 to 7, we have rejuvenated ourselves, we have re-energized ourselves, and we are ready to face the world. So that's what we do. So what happens? Our skin gets clearer, our sleep is more sound, our body becomes more regular, we get hungry regularly, our elimination is good, and because of all of this, our mood is also good. So through a balanced physique or physical body, our mind also remains calm and quiet. Okay. And then over time, our mind gets purified so that we can get subtler and subtler understanding of ourselves and everything around us. So we start inquiring, who am I? What is this world? What is divinity? Or what is God? Most people say, God, 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 but most people don't understand what God means, right? If you ask 10 people, what do you mean by God? They will give you 10 different answers, or maybe 15 different answers. But you will, at the end of it, you will not understand what God is. Okay, so who am I? What is the world? Who is God? And what is the spiritual practice, or how do I live here in this world to figure out all these answers? What is the practice? So all of these answers become clearer once we undertake this practice. So these are all the benefits. The third question is it good for me? I don't know. It depends upon who you are. It depends upon where you are, whether it is good for you or not. Okay. If you are at a point in your life where you don't have any clear answers, but you want those answers. If you have come to a stage where you are seeking answers, see, if you are at a stage in your life where you think that I know all the answers, this is all bakwas, I don't need to understand anything, I don't need to know anything, whatever I'm doing is running very fine, and I don't need to change whatever I'm doing. So in that case, you are great. Wherever you are, it's wonderful. Tathastu. That's how everybody should be. See, nobody should do anything against their wishes. If we tell you something to do and you don't feel like doing it, your mind is not in it, then what will happen? You will feel like we have put you in jail. Then what will you do? You will like to break out of that jail. And once you break out of that jail, then you will do whatever you were doing earlier with double vengeance. So if you come into a 30-day program and you lose 10 kilograms or 5 kilograms, because you have done all the discipline, but your mind was not really in it. You was constantly remembering, I used to eat like that. I used to really enjoy that. But now in this 30-day program, somehow I'm not being able to do it. And you keep crying. At the end of those 30 days, you will not only regain those 5 kilos you have lost, but you will gain 5 more. That's what will happen. You see, we have not made any laws of nature. Laws of nature exist. They have always existed and they will always exist. Okay. What we do is we share with you our experience of how nature's laws work and how, if we undertake a certain action, what will happen at the end. Okay. So that is the experience we share with you. We take you on a journey with us. Okay. We answer your queries, we answer your questions. If you have any doubts, we answer those. Okay. A lot of people are afraid that I'm not going to get certain nutrients if I become vegan. That is not true. Who has told you? You see, nature provides us all the nutrients we need in the food nature produces without us having to do much to it. Okay. Nature is like our mother. We call it Mother Nature, is it not? So, Mother Nature feeds its children whatever the children need. So, if we live reverentially, obediently with Mother Nature as her children, then Mother Nature will take care of us. In fact, in the Gita, there is a shlok where Bhagavan says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham, which means if the sadhak or the seeker constantly remembers and dwells on Krishna, on the divine principle, then of that sadhak, of that seeker, yoga kshema means all of his or her material needs are fulfilled by the divine. In the Bible, there is a verse that says, if I can clothe the beasts and the birds, will I not take care of you? So the divine principle is saying that I'm taking care of the animals and the birds. Who is taking care of them? Who has given them whatever their feathers and skin and all those things to take care of themselves in nature? Are you not precious than they are? Will I not take care of you? That's what the divine principle is asking. That is how it works. If we don't believe it, that's okay. You see, truth is independent of whether I believe in it or not, whether I know it or not, whether I agree with it or not, whether I like it or not. Truth remains truth. Okay. Let me give you an example. If we run into an owl who has never seen the sunlight, okay, never seen the sun, and we have an argument with the owl that there is something called the sun, because you and I have seen the sun, right? But the owl will say, no, there is nothing like sun. Sun does not exist. Will that argument go anywhere? No, it will not go anywhere. Now, is the owl wrong? No, the owl is not wrong. The owl has assumed that whatever it knows, that is the entire truth, and whatever it doesn't know is not the truth at all. That is wrong. So, therefore, if somebody is telling us something from their experience, just because we have not experienced it, we cannot condemn it and we cannot say that that is wrong. It doesn't even exist. If I want to believe like that, then only God can help me, as I would say rhetorically. So, and then there is another saying, God helps those who help themselves. Right? So unless I have the desire to learn, nobody can help me. The classic example is Duryodhan and Dushasan. In the entire Mahabharata, see, these Duryodhan Dushasan were the paternal cousins of Arjuna, and Krishna was the maternal cousin. So Arjuna's mother Kunti and Krishna's father Vasudev, they were brother and sister. And this Duryodhan, Dushasan, they were Arjuna's father's brother's children. So Chachere Bhai and Mamera Bhai. So these were the cousins, and they all grew up together. They were in the same era. And Krishna, we know and we worship as the divine principle, and we also call him the Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. We say that, right? But in spite of living in close proximity of at the same time as Krishna, neither Duryodhan nor Dushasan improved. They remained Rakshasas until the end. Right? Duryodhan, there is a famous quote by Duryodhan in the Mahabharata. He says, Janami dharma nachame pravrutti, janami adharmam nachame nivrutti. So I know what dharma means. I know what good behavior is, but somehow I am not encouraged to do that, or I am not motivated to act accordingly. I also know what is adharma. I know what is bad behavior, but somehow I cannot keep myself away from it. That's the problem. That is our problem also. Right? So even though Krishna, who was the Jagat Guru, was at the same time in his life as a physical person, Duryodhan did not learn anything. Which means what? Unless I have a desire to learn from within, even God cannot teach me anything. Right? That is the thing. So we need to understand that our desire to learn, kindling the desire to learn within our heart is sacrosanct. It's most important. So unless I'm ready to learn, I cannot go to any school. And doesn't matter how good the teacher is, we will defeat the teacher. And the teacher will get frustrated. And then the teacher will say, thank you very much. I have lost. I cannot teach you. You go home. Right? At least I want to keep my mind stable. So therefore, we don't want to be like that teacher. I certainly don't want to be like that teacher. I don't even want to be a teacher. I would much rather be your friend, your brother. I will just share with you my experience. If there is a desire to learn within you, if there is a burning fire, burning desire within you to learn, you will not learn anything. That desire to learn within us is called the Guru principle. Okay. So, in our program, we share our experience, and hopefully, our participants have the desire to learn and have the desire to implement what they have learned. And if they do, then the results are phenomenal. That is proven in every participant's experience. Whoever participates and is able to follow. See, some people are not able to follow for whatever reasons. They have family reasons or somebody is sick or whatever, and they're not able to follow. So that's fine. See, we say, if you're not able to follow this month, don't worry. You come next month and we'll do it. So when your mind is in line with what you are doing, only then it will work. About that, we are sure. So that's what we do. And once we do that, then all of these principles of how vegan diet or raw vegan diet works and how it is good for us, all of these principles become apparent or become evident within our heart. So therefore, we have learned now. Then we don't have to believe anybody, or you don't have to believe my words, because those words have become reality in your own experience, right? So one of the questions most people have is, will I get enough nutrients from this food I'm eating? And of course, the answer is yes. You see, the way our body is built does not depend upon how much food we eat. Okay? It depends upon, out of whatever food we eat, how much we convert into these saptadhatu which make up our body. That conversion is more important than the amount of food you eat. See, our body is like compare that with a glass. So you pour something in it. The glass is capable of holding only X milliliters of water. Right? So if you pour more milliliters of water into the glass, what will happen? The water will simply flow away, isn't it? So we should not do that. There is no reason to do that. What we need to do is to feed only what our body requires and make sure that that conversion happens properly. That is what is important. So therefore, one question was, where do we get protein? Protein can be obtained from vegetarian sources, vegetable sources. The way we receive protein, or the way I receive protein in my diet, is through sprouts, soaked nuts. Hmm? And everything else has protein also. Even spinach will have 1%, 2% protein. Every little living entity has protein, has to have protein. Otherwise, the metabolic reactions within that life form will not happen. See, metabolism happens by proteins. Enzymes are the crucial ingredients that churn all kinds of things within each biological cell. So each biological cell has protein, has to have protein. It may be more or less. See, usually seeds have a lot of protein. Seeds also have a lot of nutritional material that is enough for that seed to expand into, until it becomes or it grows a leaf, because then the leaf becomes the energy source for the plant, right? So until the leaf comes out from a seed, the seed has to sustain on its own, right? So the seed has a huge amount of nutritional value. Okay, so when we eat even a small amount of seed, so typically what I do in my diet is, most of my diet is fruits, a little bit of seeds, soaked nuts. Basically, I try to soak raw peanuts at night. I also soak some almonds and walnuts, and I eat those. I eat some other nuts also. I eat some seeds also. Those seeds will give us the bulk we need for uh, our feeling of being full, right? So satiation comes out of the bulk we eat out of those seeds, and that you don't require much of that. Hardly one small bowl or half a bowl of that. The rest of it can be fruits. So the fruits, whatever fruits you get seasonally, you can eat those. Okay, that will give you enough protein. No problem with that. Okay, and when we eat natural food, it comes with all kinds of natural ingredients, all kinds of minerals, all kinds of, the fruits will give us all the carbohydrates. Nuts and seeds will give us both the protein and the fat. And natural food has all kinds of minerals and vitamins. So we need only four different ingredients in our diet: carbohydrate, fat, these are the two energy sources, then protein to rebuild our body, and four is the minerals or vitamins. So all of these requirements are fulfilled. There is no problem with this if we eat a proper balanced diet. In fact, we have a nutritionist on our team. She and I sit down together and sit with every participant and tell where you are, what you are lacking, what you need to include in your diet, when you need to eat, how you need to eat, all those things we advise. So that's how this program progresses. And we take every participant on a journey from wherever they are to wherever they can go. And they go in territories where they could not imagine they could go. Yesterday, we were talking to one of our sisters, and she said she was so happy after having gone through this program. Her face completely changed. There was a different glow on her face in a month. We will release her testimonial on our channel soon, sometime. So now I'm going to try to unmute people. Okay. So let's see all the participants. Thank you so much for listening to me so patiently so far. I'm going to say, allow participants to unmute themselves, and I say yes. So whoever wants to unmute, they can unmute and ask questions. Okay. Thank you for
So,
listening to me so patiently.
Dada, there is a question in the group. Someone has asked in chat box that egg is vegetarian or non-vegetarian.
All right. So somebody has asked a question whether egg is vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Egg has come from a bird, isn't it? What is the purpose of the egg in nature? The purpose of the egg is to propagate the life of that bird, isn't it? The bird does not lay the egg with the noble intention that here is some food I'm creating for mankind, and therefore every human being should eat this egg, and then I will get moksha or I will be liberated. No bird thinks in this nonsensical manner. The bird wants to propagate, the bird wants to make sure that its species will be propagated, and it lays eggs. It does not lay eggs so that they will become our food. There is no reason for us to eat any eggs. Secondly, the problem with eggs, I will tell you. See, the egg, when we eat any egg, we don't really know whether that egg is going to become a male or a female, right? So when we consume the egg, then those tendencies can go within us. We see a lot of times in younger people, younger children, pre-puberty, or who are going to just become young adults, in them, males will exhibit some female properties and females will exhibit some male properties. This is because of those eggs, because those tendencies will come in us. See, that egg is for that species. Let them do whatever they want to do with that species. For us, the best food is plant-based food. Whatever grows in nature through the process of photosynthesis. See, whatever food grows in nature through photosynthesis, that food has the sun's energy in it. The sun is responsible for all the intelligence we have within us, right? And even the Jaఠaragni, or the digestive fire in our body, corresponds with the sun. So if we want our body to be powerful, just like the sun, then we should consume the food that has been created by the sun's power, solar power. Okay. So if we eat plant-based food, it's much better than eggs. Eggs are not vegetarian at all. Some people may think that eggs are vegetarian. And if you eat an egg every now and then, you will not get killed or you will not die. And people eat eggs all the time and they live fine. That's not a problem. But egg is not a natural food for human beings. We should try to avoid it. I'm just sharing with you my intuition and my understanding, how I understand nature's laws. You are not obliged to agree with me. Okay? You don't have to agree with me and I will not be offended. You should do what your mind tells you to do. ऐकावे जनाचे आणि करावे मनाचे. So you should listen from everybody. We should do what our mind tells us. Okay. Don't believe me. Don't believe anybody. You do an experiment and find out. So you go for a whole week.
Can I say something here?
Without eating any eggs, and then you eat eggs and then see how you feel. You try. So, okay, Dr. Prakash Kondekar, you wanted to ask a question. So I'm delighted you are here. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. No, I wanted to tell about this vegetarian egg. Now you will get eggs. Earlier we have eggplant, Bengal. But now there will be plant with eggs, real eggs. That is vegetarian egg. And that is happening. Such plants are available now.
Dr. Prakash, you went on mute.
Yeah.
Dr. Prakash, we cannot hear you. You have to unmute yourself, please.
Okay, I had unmuted it. Okay.
So by
what I
mistake,
wanted to, yeah, what I wanted to say about the eggs. Nowadays, the eggs you will find in a tree, egg tree, not eggplant now, because eggplant, that is Bengal, is a vegetarian food. But now the eggs are coming with nutrition, total protein, and they will be available on the trees. And such plants are there in some of the countries like Canada, in USA some part, and then some research going on in Singapore also we find. So that is I wanted to say. Of course, I will talk about more details if you give me a chance afterwards.
no, this is
Thank you.
fine. So if there is research going on where food is being produced through the process of photosynthesis, you see, the seeds we eat, the oil seeds or the pulses we eat, tur dal, moong dal, chana dal, these are tiny eggs of the plant, isn't it? That food or that protein is being generated or being produced by nature through the process of photosynthesis. All of these pulses have been around for the past millions of years, right? The eggplant you are describing, I'm sure it will be good, but we don't have enough experience of it. We don't have enough traditional experience of it yet as to how that food is going to interact with human body and what kind of results it is going to produce. So we don't know about that yet. So I'm of course open to learning more about it, and I would like to learn from you or from somebody else, or I will try to find out more about it. If that is a solution for human hunger problem, then that would be a welcome discovery. That will be
Yeah.
great. I
There
think
is an institute, Global Food Institute, and they are doing research on that, and they are coordinator for this vegetarian protein, plant protein.
great. Well, thank you for sharing this information, Dr. Kondekar. We'll take another question. There is a question from Nitin Joshi. If I eat 30% grains at night, day hours, I will be on raw. Will I be benefited if I eat 30% grains at night? Day hours, I will be on raw. You see, all of these things we have to learn through our own experiments and our own experience. So if you are doubtful about these things, by all means, join our program. And if you want to not commit yourself for all 30 days, you can sign up for a 1 hour consultation. That also we do so that you don't have to commit yourself for the whole month. Just pick our brains for an hour, try to ask us questions. We will also go through everything you have done or you are doing currently, and then how to go from there to where you need to go. We'll give you that advice and then you do it on your own. That's also okay. Entirely up to you. There is one other question I was seeing here, Neetu, how a person working heavyweight training in gym can meet his protein needs from vegan diet. There is no reason to believe you cannot fulfill your protein needs from a vegan diet. Some of the best athletes in the world are on vegan diet and they are doing great, including Virat Kohli, who's a cricketer who plays cricket for 5 days continuously. There is no problem about getting protein from vegan diet. You can learn more about it from people who have done that. See, in our program, we don't claim to and we don't try to make you athletes. We try to share with you our experience on how diet purification can lead to mind purification and it leads to a higher experience of life. If you want to be an athlete, you should take guidance from people who have been on a vegan diet and are good athletes. I don't have experience of being an athlete. I mean, I do play table tennis, I play fairly well, but I'm not an athlete like Virat Kohli or somebody else. So, by all means, the answer to your question is protein requirements for athletes can be met through vegan diet. There is absolutely no problem regarding that. So, don't be afraid at all. Okay. Arpita wanted to ask, so no salt in diet is all right, especially with fruits, etc., as major food. Okay, so fruits and natural diet has plenty of sodium. There is no dearth of sodium in natural food. We can get enough sodium from different sources. There is no reason to eat extra salt. I've gone without salt for several months at a time. In fact, I went through a discipline where I would eat no material that could not be converted into a complete meal. So if I have only that one thing on my plate, I should be able to fulfill my hunger or satisfy my hunger just with that one item. Only those items I ate. This discipline I did for 2-3 months. And I realized that even if you eat just one item, that one item is capable of giving you enough nutrition. Then next day you do something else. So this is called mono diet. So at one meal, you eat only one item. This requires a lot of mental discipline. Okay. So the person who is afraid that I will not get enough nutrition if I don't eat 10 different things, for such a fearful person, this kind of discipline is not recommended. Okay, so there is no reason for you to do any such discipline unless your mind is completely in line with it and you are willing to undertake that discipline. Okay, Sarvesh, you want to ask something? I think you have a question, so I think you are unmuted. Why don't you go ahead and ask a question, please? Sarvesh, you are unmuted, so I'm assuming you want to ask something. If not, I'm going to mute you, and I think I'm going to unmute Dr. Kondekar once again. Dr. Kondekar, you wanted to ask something.
Yeah. Uh, I was trying to tell about the strength of the vegan diet. There are two examples. Elephant is totally vegan, and horse totally vegan. But you know the strengths of both, so that can be good example for a vegan diet. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing this. So Kiran is asking mono food items like, see, mono food items like just banana, for example. So one day you eat only banana. It's called a banana fast. Second day you eat only coconut fast. So just coconut. Another day you eat some other fruit. I would recommend that you do the seasonal fruit. So in the summer, you eat only mango for a whole day. Just see what happens. Okay, so things that are available in the season, you can do a mono fast with that, mono diet fast with that. You can try this. You're most welcome to chat with us separately, and we will spend more time on this with you. So Viraj is asking, Dada, will like to hear your opinion about omitting garlic and onion from the diet for better meditation. I'm reading the way you meant it. I'm not reading it the way you wrote it. That's okay. So Viraj, why should we not eat onion and garlic if we are undertaking meditation practice? See, meditation practice is to still our mind or calm our mind down. As I said earlier in the beginning of the program, that the food we eat gets converted into various different things, including our mind at the end. See, at the subtle level, whatever we eat will influence our mind. So onion and garlic have such properties as will agitate our mind. So if we are undertaking meditation, then it is better for us to avoid onion and garlic. Onion and garlic are good medicines. They can be eaten as medicine for medicinal purpose for certain things. You should ask your Ayurvedic physician when you should eat onion and garlic. Otherwise, eating onion and garlic in everyday diet is neither required nor recommended. So in your case, especially Viraj, better not to eat onion and garlic at all. I have not eaten onion and garlic for 30-35 years. I have not missed it. I don't care for the taste. And I haven't found myself to be any weaker or any deprived at all. I don't even have the desire to eat onion and garlic. Arpita, mono diet needs to be tried if suits our body then. I have migration headache. Yeah, you mean you have migraine headache very frequently. See, migraine headache has certain causes. So by all means, contact us, talk to us separately. We'll talk to you regarding that. People had migraine headaches. Our founder Pooja, our sister Pooja had migraine headaches. He used to have migraine headaches. Those migraine headaches have disappeared. It happens. So Nitin Joshi is asking how to join you, sir. Okay, there was a phone number when you got this message, right? You registered for this program or for this webinar because you got a phone number in the notice you got. So on that phone number, you send a WhatsApp message. You will receive the information regarding how to register for the program. You are most welcome to join. We would love.
Dada.
Yes, Sarvesh, bol.
Now that Virajji has opened up the topic of onion and garlic, and it is related to your organization name, Sattva. So this is just something of an opinion that I want from you, is that veganism is certainly a very excellent lifestyle choice as far as health and your spiritual journey goes. But it excludes some of the traditional Indian foods that we are used to consuming or which has been recommended by even Ayurveda and our forefathers, which is milk products, mainly dahi, curd, ghee, and to an extent honey as well. It depends on how you see honey. So my question or my personal feeling is that anything that is any food, there are 4 types of food, Pashamyanam Chaturvidam, and then each food has its own quality, the 3 guna, there's a gun. So I personally feel that any food that is sattvic in gun, that is always to be consumed, whether it be from animal sources or be it from plant sources. So what is your opinion as to how does this compare with veganism, wherein you're completely excluding ghee and dahi? Just for your opinion.
Okay, understand. So that is a good question. This question get asked frequently. And I'm of the opinion that all food, whether you are eating sattvic food, rajasic food, tamasic food, any and all food must be eaten like aushadhi. Okay, so you said Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. That was the 14th verse, right? Or in the same verse, it says, Ki Gama Vishacha Bhutani Dharayam Yahmojasa Pushnami Chaushadhi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmaka.
Yes.
So that was the one before that, right? And then the next verse is
Correct.
Ham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyannam Chaturvidam. So you told me the 14th verse, but in the 13th verse, what does Bhagavan say? He says, Gam Avishyacha Bhutani. Gam is Prithvi. Avishya is come. Bhutani as beings. Dharayam Yamojasa. By my ojas, the life-giving property, they are held up. Then next, Pushnami Chaushadhi Sarva. Right? त्या सर्वांचं पोषण मी औषधीनी करतो. उन सब का पोषण मैं औषधियों से करता हूँ. I sustain them by aushadhi. Aushadhi mean what? Aushadhi means the food we eat, the vegetable matter we eat. Okay. So Pushnami Chaushadhi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmaka. That is how food gets transformed. Okay. So Bhagwan is referring to food as aushadhi. If we consume the food as aushadhi to get rid of our fundamental disease called hunger, then any and all food will work like aushadhi. Unfortunately, we do not treat food like aushadhi. We treat food like entertainment. We do not treat food as yajna karma. We treat food as bhoga samagri and bhoga karma. So the process of eating is not considered as yajna karma by the common person today. Okay. As children, what did we learn? We learned Vadani Kavala Gheta, Namaghya Shri Hari se, Sahaja Havan hote, Namagheta Pukat se, Jivana Kari Jivitva, Anna he Purna Brahma, Udara Bharana no he, Jani je yajna karma. Right? If we do not consider food to be yajna karma, or the process of eating food to be yajna karma, if we consider the process of eating food to be bhoga karma, then it does not matter how sattvic you are and what kind of sattvic food you eat, that sattvic food will become rajasic within you. Okay, so even onion and garlic can be eaten and can be eaten by a sattvic person, and the person can remain sattvic if overall constitution is sattvic and that onion garlic is eaten in very small quantities. Okay, unfortunately we don't do that. After we become sattvic, or after our food becomes sattvic, or after we consume so-called sattvic food, we start thinking of that sattvic food also as enjoyable, and we try to enjoy that food also. It's not that enjoyment will not happen. Okay, enjoyment will happen every time you eat food. If you are hungry, whatever you are eating will feel tasty, will taste good to you, and there will be a pleasure in the process of eating. About that there is no doubt. Even if you are eating food like yajna karma, even then you will enjoy that. But whether your focus is on that yajna or whether your focus is on the enjoyment, that differentiates whether the food is tamasic, rajasic or sattvic. Even sattvic food can become rajasic if overeaten, or if eaten with the focus on enjoyment, and the same sattvic food will become tamasic if overeaten. Okay, so it's very, very subtle, very subtle. So don't go by the physical appearance of the food, whether this is onion, whether this is garlic, whether this is that, whether this. No. Gajanan Maharaj in Shegaon, they always had a झुणका bhakar as the nevedya. झुणka is made up of kanda and besan. Right? Gajanan Maharaj himself used to eat food that was left over. People had thrown away. पत्रावळी फेकून ज्या कचऱ्यावर असतात ना, त्या ते जाऊन खायचे. तसेच सापडले होते कोणाला तरी. व्यंकटलाल नावाच्या एका माणसाला. Are we Gajanan Maharaj? No. We need to act like proper normal human beings, right? We have to understand our own limitations as to what we are capable of, right? If we treat our food with reverence, if we eat only when hungry, and if we eat only for fulfilling our hunger, then whatever we eat, if the fire is very bright and if the fire is strong, then that fire is capable of burning everything. Okay, so in that proper fire, if you add some onion garlic, it will get digested. But why unnecessarily pour inappropriate fuel into a vehicle that is not designed for it? So in your car, it says unleaded petrol only. Do you, for a change, add some kerosene to it or diesel to it? You don't, right? So why take chances with this vehicle? This vehicle is much more precious than that vehicle. Take care of this, isn't it? All right. So I hope
Perfect.
this was clear to you and I didn't offend you by, I didn't sound like I'm scolding
no,
you.
no.
I'm not.
No, the perspective was what I was looking for, and that is exactly what you delivered.
Great.
So,
Dr. Prakash, तुम्हाला पण
pranam for
पुन्हा
that.
आणखीन एक प्रश्न होता बहुतेक.
Yeah,
Go ahead, please.
yeah. Here, I wanted to say one shloka from Ayurveda.
Please.
Amantram aksharam nasti, nasti moolam na aushadam. Ayogya purusha narya nasti, yojakas tatra durlabha. So any food can be taken as a medicine. Any word can be taken as a mantra. And any person, woman or man, they are useful. Yojakas tatra durlabha. The person who utilize their properties, that is important, and how to utilize. So food can be taken as a medicine. That is my say.
Absolutely. You know, that is so beautiful. And thank you so much for saying that. See, everything in this world has a purpose, but we need to understand what that purpose is. We don't even understand what our own purpose is. That is the problem. But when we realize what our purpose is, when we realize why we are here, and we are committed to walking in that direction, then the journey itself becomes so joyful that during that journey, you will simply express joy, you will exude joy, joy will simply manifest out of you. You don't have to do anything. So the flower does not give fragrance, the flower has fragrance. And from wherever the flower goes, or if the wind blows on the flower, it will carry the fragrance with it. That is what will happen. You don't have to give anything to anybody. You just have to be. That's all. If you are the way you are, you know, many people will say that I want to become this, I want to become that. No, you just be a proper human being. That is also good enough. If we have been given this wonderful human body and human mechanism and the mind and everything else by nature, should we not utilize that for its intended purpose? What has happened is, you know, we go and buy a very fancy phone. This is the iPhone something, you know, our son is the one who is interested in these things. And he insists that, you know, Baba, you should have this gadget. I said, okay, bring me a gadget. That gadget is capable of doing 100 different things, right? But we use only 3 or 4 things. So this gadget is capable of infinite things. We use only 4 things out of it, typically. Those 4 things are telephone, internet, huh? Then the worst of all is WhatsApp. So we are all addicted to WhatsApp. Okay, so in Sanskrit, I told you I said telephone, text, WhatsApp. Those are the 4 apps we use all the time, right? Those who want to speak, they have to raise their hand first. Okay, then I will unmute them if you don't mind, because you unmute yourself and then your background noise is heard by everybody. That is not a good thing. So whatever secret you are telling to your relative or son or daughter or mother, we will all hear it. So don't do that, please. Don't unmute yourself unless you are sure that you are going to talk, or first you raise your hand. So therefore, the 4 apps we use in this wonderful smartphone is the telephone, the text messaging, SMS, internet, and the worst of all, WhatsApp, right? And the remaining apps in this wonderful phone we don't even use. We don't even know that they exist, right? So those 4 apps in this device are Ahar, Nidra, Bhay, and Maithun. Okay, and Ahar is like WhatsApp. You keep eating all the time. That is Ahar. Then Nidra, of course, after you eat too much, then you will fall asleep. Then fear, I'm going to die. Somebody is going to say something to me. I'm going to get sick. All of these fears are there. Bhay. So therefore, I want to protect myself. So the sense of, or the tendency to protect, self-preservation instinct, that is Bhay. And fourth is Maithun, multiplication. Multiplication means what? I'm supposed to be only this much, but I will multiply into 2 in the same body. That is what happens. So we are stuck with these 4 apps. We do not need to get stuck with these 4 apps. If we get stuck with these 4 apps are in every living entity. But are we every living entity, or are we something different? We need to ask ourselves. So therefore, we should not get stuck in those things. We need to use this device the way it needs to be used and the way it can be used for fulfillment. Okay. So this is the journey we take along with you. We take you with us along with us in that journey. So I'm going to unmute my brother Amitabh Mudiraj here. He has been raising his hand. So you please unmute yourself and go ahead, please, Amitabh.
Yeah, so I just wanted to comment on the curd, honey, and the milk thing, right? So I also believe, right, Panchamrut has these things, right?
Yes.
So it should be good, right? We had that as like a prasad in before, but I think what happens is the yuga, right? The times we are living in, maybe this is not correct because the way we are getting the honey or the milk, right, is not the correct way, right? There is a lot of atyachar or a lot of
Absolutely.
not bad things happening, right? So maybe that is the reason it is not correct now. So it would have been really good during that yuga or that period when everything was very good to the animal, right? Now we are not treating them correctly, right? Everybody
That is
should be
absolutely correct.
treated. Correct.
Absolutely correct. So you see, all of these material laws are laws that govern our life. They change from time to time. So for
Mhm.
example, say 1,000 years ago, if I would kill 1,000 elephants, then I would be considered as a big yodha or a big, very powerful person, and I would get a big medal that somebody who has killed 1,000 elephants, right?
Mhm.
But nowadays, if I go and even look at an elephant, somebody will arrest me, because nowadays it is not good to kill another animal or whatever, right? But at one
Mhm.
time it was different because there were too many elephants and too few human beings. Now the human being has become the big elephant in the room, so that has to be killed.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
therefore, nature has devised a wonderful way. It will send yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata. Some things will happen. So these things keep happening in the world. We don't have to take these things sacrosanct. See, if we take some physical laws or laws of life as sacrosanct forever, the physical laws or the laws of the land will change every now and then. But there are
Mhm.
certain eternal principles that are inviolable, and they are applicable even in today's life as they were thousands of years ago. So those principles are discovered by people who are contemplative. Those people we call as rishis, and whatever they understand or they hear within their deep contemplative state of experience, that is called the shruti. That shruti is called the veda. That is the wisdom or the knowledge in this universe. That knowledge always exists. We can understand that knowledge or we can hear those shruti only if we are completely still and quiet.
Mhm.
As long as we are stuck in Ahar, Nidra, Bhay, Maithun, we will not hear anything. So there is no reason to go beyond that unless we purify ourselves first. So this whole program is basically a prerequisite. It's only the KG kindergarten class. The first lesson in life has to be, I shall not eat until I am hungry. If this discipline I cannot do even for 7 days, there is no reason to go to any class. So before you go to any class, you have to do this discipline. This is called the prerequisite. This is the admission requirement. If you want to get admission for the kindergarten class, your boy should not be, should be potty trained. That's what the kindergarten teacher will tell you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we are doing is basically potty training. Our Shuddhi 30-day detox program is potty training. Think of it in this manner. It's that simple and elementary. If we cannot train ourselves for this, there is no way we can go any further than that. If you are not interested in doing this, it's okay. I mean, I'm not saying you don't take it personally. Don't take anybody here. Please don't take any of my comments personally. See, until we have the discipline to do the very basic things, the very basic thing is, I shall not eat until I am hungry. Is that too hard to follow for a week? Do that. When you do that, there will be so many other rules in your mind that will become clear. It's amazing. By all means. And you should try this. Just try it out. Don't believe me. So
Dada,
Sang.
one more thing. So about the onion and garlic, right? So when we said aushadhi, so it is in nature, it has its purpose. So if we take that as medicine, it should be okay, right? Like maybe for somebody, even meditation would not be a problem, even if you eat that, right? It's all about how you absorb in the body. Because
That is
when we
true. So
said,
you can do
yeah,
it with and without. See how it works.
correct, yeah,
I
okay.
see माझा असा काही आग्रह नाही. See, there is no duragraha, right? The worst graha in nature is duragraha. Shani, Mangal, Rahu, Ketu, they are all fine. They are okay. They are doing their job. Duragraha is bad. So there is no reason for me to insist that you should do or you must do or thou shalt. If that duragraha is there, I have learned nothing. So there is nothing I will compel anybody to do, or we should not compel anyone to do anything against their wishes. That is called balatkar. No reason for us to do any balatkar on anybody. So thank you for asking this question. So you should try it with and without and see what happens and what it does to you. How can I tell? Because I don't take onion garlic. So I cannot tell you what will happen if I take onion garlic. I don't even try that. So Prakash ji, Dr. Kondekar, you wanted to ask something else again. Go ahead, please.
Here, about question from Amitav about onion. There is one grantha, Palandu Kalp, name of that grantha, a book. And it says, Labate bala varnojaha, swarasaumanyasya tejasi, kshina shakruta badiropi, rasonavat tadra sampitva. Labate bala, you get strength. Varnoja, complexion. Labate bala varnoja, swarasaumanyasya tejasi, you get good voice. Kshina shakruta badiropi, those they are weak, those they are hard of hearing, for them this is very useful medicine. That is in short. So as you said, if it is taken as a medicine, yes, it is good. And yeah, that's what I was trying to tell. And I have few points about vegan diet. Some of the people, they go to the extremes and then they get some disadvantages or they get into problems, land into problems. So for them, I have few tips. Can I read it out?
Yes, please,
Doctor?
by all means. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yes. Because I have quoted some of the things about olive oil, high fat content. So there should be restriction when the vegan diet is there, because many people go in more quantity. Then whole food vegan will not
We lost you, Dr. Prakash.
yeah, then raw diet, of course, yeah. I'm audible, no?
Yeah, you are okay now. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Then raw diet may cause digestive problems due to high fiber. So that quantity of raw diet, particularly in vegans, if they are using, they have to be careful. Then unhealthy foods in vegan category, vegan cookies, then vegan chips, then food fried in peanuts and vegetables. So these are some of the cautions for the vegan diet.
Absolutely.
should
See,
have-
just like there is junk non-vegetarian food, there is junk vegetarian food, and there is junk vegan food also. So there is absolutely no reason for us to eat any junk food at all. We can completely eat junk food while eating vegan food. About that, I'm completely cognizant, and we are delighted you reiterated all of that. So we do tell
Thanks.
people about this, and we caution people against that. This is fantastic. So I'm delighted all of you came. We are already about 10 to 15 minutes over. It's wonderful to see all of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to us so patiently. We shall meet again soon, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So everybody have a wonderful
Dr.
rest of the
Vikram.
weekend.
Dr.
And-
Vikram, Dr. KK Goyal here.
Yes, sir. We missed you all this time.
Yeah, very sorry to log in so late because there are a lot of rains here and there is some trouble with the network connection. So I could not even message you.
There is no problem. I hope everything is okay. The rains will subside eventually. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll meet again. I took the vegan questions you had asked and I was hoping to see you, but that's okay. Sometimes it happens. But delighted
Okay.
you came at the end and said hello to everybody. So everybody enjoy the
Yeah.
rest of your weekend and then we shall meet again after 2 weeks.
Thank you.